welcome in Minnesota Vikings fans back to another GG Sports podcast Monday night live stream. Today, as you can tell, I got another guest on. We got Dante, East Coast Gridiron. Dante, how you doing tonight?
Man, I've been looking forward to this ever since last week, and then everybody wanted to just get the power turned off in in my whole city because somebody in the Amazon truck wanted to run into a pole. So it's crazy, but I'm happy to be here, man. This is gonna be fun,
dude.
Absolutely.
So tell us about yourself a little bit and just all the draft stuff that you do in your channel, everything, but in depth, man. You really know what the hell you're talking about for sure. And having you part of our little group that we've created has been super nice to you, so you can just hop in these and drop some knowledge on all of us. But yeah, man, let us know.
All good. Yeah, I mean, this thing started about 4 years ago. We rebranded about 2 years ago to East Coast Gridiron. We were first called like the Go for Two podcast, and it was just all audio based. And then, me and my guy Don and he was like, you've been a graphic designer, you've owned your own business, and you know about video editing and all that stuff. Why don't we just go and do it like, just actual video? So kind of took the idea and ran with it, and this is where we are now. I got a couple people to kind of join us. We don't like to think of ourselves like a network, more like a media group. I mean, we've been to like the Senior Bowl, have had media credentials for this and that too. So when it comes to me personally, just playing the game since I was like 5 years old, and then going into coaching and coaching quarterbacks and stuff like that. That's it's really where my passion kind of eluded itself, especially working with a lot of people and then talking about football. People are like, man, you really know what you're talking about. You should probably start a podcast, and you kind of got the voice for it and everything like that. So, I just kind of put, my 2 cents together, and I got, it was a little annoying just hearing people just like start talking about stuff that they really don't know about sometimes. And it's like, well, let me try to just help educate my homies too about what's going on.
That's why you're here today, man. That's why you're here. We need that. We need the help, man. We need the help. Here, let me do a couple of shout outs real quick. Gary, what's going on, man? We're in here. Let's get the party started. Hashtag Skol, of course. Giving away Justin Jefferson rookie card with the pink foil this time. So hashtag Skols in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. Go subscribe to East Coast Gridiron. Like the video. Do not forget to like the video. Let's see. Kofi, what's going on, man? Paul, glad to see you back in here. Justin, Jim, Yogi, what's going on, Yogi?
My man, Yogi.
Yeah, what's going on? Hashtag
the last time Kofi was in here, we almost made him cry over a mock draft that we did. But
Kofi's pretty extreme for on the mock draft, so we'll see how we do later today. One more thing, Thursday draft party. Everybody who's in here, they already know, but we got the whole Purple and Skol game in here. We're going to have a couple guests, Matthew Hatchett, ex-Vikings wide receiver, and Daryl Madison, Alexander Madison's dad. We are giving away a Justin Jefferson PSA 10 rookie card, plus a lot of other stuff. I even got a Alexander Madison RPA rookie patch auto just for when his dad's in here, all that good stuff. So it's going to be awesome. So don't forget to show up Thursday. This is going to be the spot to be.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so Dante, before we get into more stuff, I got it. So you've seen, obviously you're a college football aficionado as well as pro. Like, how much time do you spend on the couch between Saturday and Sunday during football season?
I told somebody this to kind of explain how crazy it gets. So most of the Mountain West and the Pac-12 guys, they play 3 hours behind the East Coast guys, right? So by the time they play, it's like, and get into the third quarter, it's like midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning. I remember staying up and watching I think it was Fresno State versus like San Diego State or something like that. I ended up staying up till like 3 o'clock in the morning because their game went to like triple overtime or something like that. And I was as, bushy-tailed and bright-eyed as anybody else because I just love that stuff, man. So no matter how small it is, and sometimes you'll catch me on Friday nights at some of the high school games out here too, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I live, breathe, eat this thing like all the time. And, going to the Senior Bowl this year was really like a great experience because it brought me back to the times when I used to be in practice. And, all of us should see the games, but I took so much about, finding players like Keon White. We'll get into him, I'm sure, later. We'll get into Keon White, and I feel like he's one of the best edge rushers in this class that nobody talks about. And every single rep, he was getting it. And Mike Tomlin was out there with his clipboard, and he was like, every single rep Keon White was at. I mean, he was standing up there with the most serious stance of all time. And I'm like, he's probably going to pull the trigger on that guy earlier than everybody. But it's just that type of stuff, man. I just love getting to the deep dive in conversation, seeing what people's opinions are about different things, because it's hard to focus on 130 schools in FBS and then you go over to NFL and that's another 32, and then you got another 8 that we're trying to focus on with the XFL. So
right,
you know,
that's crazy.
it's a lot of stuff, but it's cool.
I was going to ask, like, when it comes to like evaluating talent and stuff, like, how do you, like, because obviously, like, are you one of those people, like, will you watch as many games as you can just to get just a good feeling on all these players? And do you watch just like highlight videos and stuff in spare time, or like film stuff, or like how do you? I mean, because you seem to know a lot about a lot of players. It's just, I don't know how you have enough time to do all that. There's so many players out there, you know.
So I kind of challenge myself every year, right? So the best advice I could give to people is like, all right, so you know that there's the Power 5 schools, which is Pac-12, Big 12, Big 10, ACC, SEC, right? And I always tell people, pick one team from each division, because they usually split every single conference out into 2 divisions. Pick 2 teams, and they'll eventually play everybody in that conference, and you won't have to focus on one team over another. So then, like last year for me, it was Vanderbilt and Georgia, who I was looking at in the SEC. Everybody knows Vanderbilt sucks. You know, sometimes diamond in the roughs end up coming out, you know.
Right.
Not everybody's going to be good, but it's easier just to, you know, you don't have to know everything between the X's and O's when a guy is good. I mean, like when I break it down, I know you guys seen the slider series on my channel, and one of the things I said at the beginning in the intro is I don't want to get as in depth with the X's and O's, because there's a lot of people out there that do that, and I understand it from that standpoint. But from what I understand playbook wise to scouting, how can I get the normal person, like, you know, I mean, you guys are not, I wouldn't say you guys aren't a normal echelon, but you guys are Vikings fans. But how can I get somebody like you that's not all enthralled into the X's and O's to understand what a good player is versus a bad player? And usually most of the time, I would say probably 90% of my evaluations are usually right about a player. I always hang my hat on, like, especially quarterbacks, because that was my thing. But Cam Newton was one of those players that I was completely wrong about. And that was years ago. So everybody that I've kind of talked about up to this point has either done really well or just not gotten the chance to even shine. So I don't really notch that as like a complete X for me. I mean, just teams like different players. But
right.
You know, like one of those guys right now, Matt Corral, who I think you guys should absolutely go after and get.
Yeah.
But he was the best quarterback that I evaluated since Andrew Luck, and people thought I was crazy. But then when I explained to him, like, find me another quarterback that did as many things as he did right in his college career, and I bet you can't find anything. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
It's kind of like those conversations that I like having. It's like, well, I'm going to challenge you in what you know, because I watch this stuff all the time. So when people are like, Anthony Richardson is awesome, I'm more so of like, what did you do week to week saying that he's great? Because if you were so great, then why didn't your team have success? I mean, Florida is a primetime football school, but people are saying he's awesome because of his intangibles. I don't really care about the combine like that. I mean, I like seeing stuff like, for example, Byron Young was at the Senior Bowl from Tennessee. He's an edge rusher who I'm very high on too. And every single rep, like Keon White, I mean, the best way I can describe him is what I described to everybody else. Cleats in the ground, grass in the back of him. Like every rep mattered kind of guy, right? So when he ran like a 4.4 at the combine, I was like, oh, snap.
Right.
Like the kid is actually fast too. So that stuff is like, okay, that adds on to his profile, because you can't see that stuff in practice all the time within a 5-yard sprint. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's just, it's added onto there, especially if you're like stuck between 2 players, and maybe if one does really well at the combine and the one didn't as well. Maybe it's just like that's like the difference maker. But at the end of the day, like what it shows on film, how they play in actual games, I think they should matter a lot more. I mean, there's a couple players like Daniil Hunter, for instance, for Vikings. Like he's a guy who just was insane at the combine. But I don't know if you were able to see him at all prior to college. We didn't know. Obviously, he had like 1.5 sacks for his entire college career, and then has a crazy combine and actually turns into like a really good elite edge rushing player.
It's like Haloti Ngata, right? Haloti Ngata was like not the guy that got a ton of sacks every year, but the way he affected and was just so good up front made him one of those guys that you're like, that you hear players talk about a lot. Like, I hated going against Haloti Ngata because he used to rip me apart. Siaki Ika in this draft is almost the same way. He's not going to show up, but to me, he might be better than Brian Bresee in some aspects. I mean, he was one-arming offensive lineman and pushing him out the way, not on every single rep, but that's why I always tell people, I encourage everybody to go watch the film. Like even if you can't find all 22, which is really hard in college, go watch the game because you need to see what he does every single rep. You can tell if a player is lazy, and you can kind of evaluate stuff like that too.
Right,
so, it really, it's all up to interpretation, but I try to put myself in the eyes of like you guys, like what can I tell you guys without saying, oh, this dude does really well in a 3 technique, or he always floods at the B gap. Like, is he versatile? How strong is he? Is he getting double teamed? Is he getting triple teamed? Is he really good at tackling? Is he really good in the run game? It's like, I try to break it down like that because I think it's easier for, somebody like you guys during the college football season. You'll notice immediately who's good on the team. You'll be like, all right, it's 22 players out here, 11 on offense, 11 on defense, but this guy's really standing out. You know what I'm saying? So, but, that's always my encouragement. Is like, it's got to start somewhere. So if you want to start in college and then really take one team at a time. And then once you start learning the team, then start learning the conference, then you start learning the divisions, and then start learning college football as a whole. And then you'll really start seeing, and then you start getting to the recruiting side, going to 247 Sports and things like that, and seeing what the recruiting boards are looking like, and then picking a player and then going to go see what his profile is like on Max Preps. You know what I'm saying? And as you just start getting deeper into the rabbit hole, but I mean, like a dude like me, like my guys will tell you, I wake up every morning, go to work, and then I go straight to the podcast. Like, my wife hates it sometimes, but she gets it. But I'll be up, she'll go to sleep, and I'll still be up watching film at like 3 o'clock in the morning. People are like, what the hell are you doing? But that's what keeps me sharp with a lot of this stuff too. So it's not just, it's not like, for you guys, I wouldn't say I know what I'm talking about. More so I just put the time in to learn the players and the teams and things like that. That's all it is. It's like, I can't teach somebody 15 years of experience for graphic design overnight. So, you just kind of take it slow and, figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
I mean,
No,
do you almost,
awesome.
I mean, I get the feeling like a lot of what people think about draft prospects, and it's kind of unfortunate, I think, it's all like very media influenced. I get the feeling like, obviously, casual fans like watch SportsCenter or NFL Network, and all they're talking about is the big hype players, and that's all they think about. Like, they don't look at the deeper cut players, because all they're seeing is Anthony Richardson. Forget about everybody else. Look what he's doing out here. He's got to be great. Like, do you feel like that's kind of an issue when it comes to a player evaluations?
I think a lot of it's based off of, like Mel Kiper, for example. I'm sure he looks at the guy that's getting a lot of hype, not only out of high school, but like the big games somebody has, and then they start evaluating them from there. And then when the combine comes, then people get a lot of notoriety there. But you're exactly right. It's just a lot of media stuff. Like, when people come to my channel, I do a mock draft, and I always say it's a not so popular mock draft, because I have like somebody like Keon White ranked as my number 2 edge rusher, and people are like, who? From Georgia Tech? What did he do? Oh, he was a transfer from Old Dominion. Is he really that good? Oh, he used to play tight end when he came over. But it's like, it's whatever you want to evaluate is whatever you want to evaluate it, pal. I'm just saying, I watched the tape and I can point out 100 things that he does well versus your favorite edge rusher like Will Anderson. You know what I'm saying? So it's, it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's your, do you like Pepsi or do you like Coke? You know what I'm saying? But all I'm trying to do is just give you those little intricacies and saying Pepsi might be better than Coke because of these ingredients. And that's what we really get down to. And I think that's what a lot of people like coming to our channel for. It's like, I'm a casual, but I love the way that you break it down, and you made me kind of think differently about a player. And I can tell you now what a lot of people start to say on our channel is, all right, this player was being talked about by you guys months before. Now this guy's shooting up the draft boards. And I was like, I'm trying to tell you, because now people are evaluating these guys a little closer because there's nothing else to do. But I've been evaluating this guy the whole year. So now why is he talked about? So it makes our notoriety go up. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because now our fans are like, Dante and them was talking about this dude months ago. This is not a surprise to us. So that's, I have a lot of pride in that. But again, if you can convince me on a player that I might look a little bit differently at, like, I evaluate 3 to 4 games on a player, and I think that's like really the soft spot, or like what you can really get, a good grasp of a player with.
Yeah.
But somebody might say, hey, go look at these 2 games that you didn't evaluate and he looked really amazing. Then now I'm in a conflicted situation. Now I got to go watch, you know what I'm saying? So I like having those conversations. It's not always like, it doesn't always have to be a back and forth and things like that. But I really like the fact that, you know, I always try to encourage people, have an open mind, because, you know, East Coast, you know, Dante's not going to have, you know, my big boy is not going to look anything like Mel Kiper and the rest of these guys. But that's why I like Mike Mayock when he was in the game. Mike Mayock I related to so much because he was there at the combines. He was there at the practices. He was there at the pro days. He was there at the games. Joel Klatt is my new favorite now because he used to play. And I'm not saying that you have had to play before, but like you kind of got to get an understanding on when a guy has played versus evaluating guys. It's a little different. You know what I'm saying? You can take a different appreciation for the game, but that's where guys like me and us having our friendship. And I always say, like, the Vikings community, I've always been cool with you guys, like with rap and just being all you guys shows. Right. Like, I'm like, the Vikings community is chill. And I know a lot of Eagles guys, I'm like, man, I can't stand half of them dudes.
I feel that. Yeah, we can't,
you know?
That. Yeah.
So if I can get like different people just kind of like to think outside the box, and I think I'm kind of doing that with some people, then they start understanding, like, yeah, I do see some flaws in this game, but learning to separate ESPN from people that actually know the game is kind of hard because we're just so, you know, we're being force fed this stuff all the time. Absolutely. So it's hard to like deviate away from that. Yeah, when something sounds good, it's hard. It's easy to cling on to it. You know what I'm saying?
I know. You try not to though. Like I don't watch enough college, but even just looking at players, I try to stay away from the media's opinion. It's almost impossible. But it's like I want to be able to like look at a player and kind of make my own thoughts without that little thing in my head like, yeah, but he's like supposed to be a top 10 pick or anything like that. Because like you said, like all the media, they all have similar boards. Like what's the chances you all have a similar board? You're all working off of each other for sure, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that, you know, that's why it's really cool that when you come up with something, it's going to be players people don't even realize, like they don't even know about. Because you're actually saying, like, I think this guy's better than some of these top guys that everybody else together thinks are a top guy, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you 2 things. Cool. So the first thing was when I put on my not my Cooper Kupp, Charlie Jones video, and I compared him to Cooper Kupp, 2 short white dudes. That's what everybody's. I had a dude on my comment section like, you're only comparing him to Cooper Kupp because he's white, and I'm like, no, he plays a lot like him, but because you just wanted to see the title and then just comment and just make a negative comment, but you can't point out anything in the video that, you know, that I actually said that supports this argument. Right. And then the second thing is like, you know, some advice that I could give people, like when evaluating, you know, players and things like that, getting to this point. Somebody asked me the other day, like, where do you rank like the pro day combine, you know, off-field games or, you know, off-season games and regular season games? I'm like, regular season games is number 1. That tells you everything you need to know.
Right.
Then I would say anything like the Senior Bowl and the East-West Shrine Bowl, the games that they play after. Mm-hmm. Then the combine, then the pro day. Because I think the combine, you're with other people that are in your skill group. So it's hard to get those nerves and everything trying to outshine them. Pro day, you're just sitting there in your underwear at your home base, you know, trying to impress people. So it's a lot easier to perform there. Yeah. So I say always evaluate those 4 things. Mm-hmm. But a thing that, you remember Andre Yoshivas from Princeton that everybody was talking about? Oh, he's so fast and all this other stuff. I was saying, that dude was complete trash at the Senior Bowl, but this is why it's important for guys like him to go and play against Division I dudes, because he can see how he stacks up. So I give him a lot of kudos for having the balls to do it, but he did not look good. And then that tells you right there, speed's not everything. So that's why I say like the off-season games are your second best evaluation of a player, then your combine, then your pro day. So I always tell people, don't get over enamored with the numbers, because I you know, Anthony Richardson might have broke all these records, but I mean, where was all this talent that everybody said he had, and he couldn't win games at Florida? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
I remember back when Mitch Trubisky was drafted. Like everyone's like, look at all the stuff he's done, but it's like, yeah, but he wasn't a winner. Like what, he started for 1 season and he didn't, like, or 2 seasons and won like 8 games or something. Like that is, you know, yeah, that's definitely I
want to be wrong, Casey. I'm telling you, I like when people come into the league, I want to be wrong on them. Right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it's better for everybody. It's better for me because I have to evaluate people a little differently, or it's telling me I have to evaluate people a little differently. But if I'm right about 90% and wrong about the 10% of the class, I'm still more right than I was wrong too. And here's the other thing. I tell people about doing mock drafts and evaluating players. I'd rather be wrong by myself than be wrong in a group of other people. I tell people that every year. Just because mine is not popular, I'd rather be Dante was wrong, not Dante and Casey and Jamie and Purple Pocket Podcast and all the ECG. Right. We were all wrong because we believed in Mel Kiper, but I'd rather be wrong by myself. So that's the other reason why I do it.
Yeah. Heck yeah, dude. That's awesome. That's awesome. Let me do a couple of shout outs here. Coach Dante, what up? Cody, buddy of mine, hashtag Skol. Yeah, again, everybody who's in here, hashtag Skol, giving away another Justin Jefferson rookie card on the pink foil. It's a decent card. So hashtag Skol, like the video, subscribe to the channels, subscribe to East Coast. I already know Gary did. Dante, I'm impressed so far. Just subscribe to your channel. Looking forward to the rest of your takes.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
That's what we want. That's what we're looking for. Have we discussed how happy we are that Aaron Rodgers is officially out of here, even though the Pack got way more than I hoped? We'll come back to that real quick. Let me go through these real quick. Happy draft week. Let's go. Dude, I'm so expensive. I'm so excited. Skol, East Coast Gridiron looking right in that purple. I feel that. Let's fucking go, my boy. Rap, Vikings lifestyle. Let's go. Love Mayock, stiff, not sure what you mean. Anthony Richardson is overrated big time. Papa Sora, what's going on, man?
East Coast Gridiron member right there.
Let's go. Skol for life. Skol, what's up, Dante? What's going on, Skol for life?
What's up, man?
And then hashtag from Kofi. Back to the Aaron Rodgers things real quick, because I want one question for you is, so Aaron Rodgers is gone. That's huge. Get him out of this division. Bring him to the Jets. I think, I'm what the Packers got, I felt wasn't too terrible, especially if they don't end up getting the first for the next year or whatever. I'm just glad he's gone. But my question is Jordan Love. What's your opinion of Jordan Love? Because we really need him to suck bad.
I wasn't a fan of him at Utah State.
What are you talking about?
So even when he came out, I'm like, what has the guy done that makes you say that this dude is the next best thing? I compare Jordan Love. All right, so here it is. I compare Jordan Love to what Zach Wilson hype was, except Jordan Love didn't get chosen second overall. He still got chosen in the first round, but it was like, nah, this kid is not it. And then this year's Jordan Love, Zach Wilson is Anthony Richardson for me. So, I'm not going to say Will Levis, because Will Levis, I think, is just overly arrogant, even though he has the skill set. He's overly arrogant, which is going to suck for him when he gets to the league, because that first time he takes that one hit and that dude's standing over him, he's like, yeah, welcome to the league, boy. This ain't nothing like you thought it was. Then he's really going to have to reevaluate all the bodybuilding and everything that he's doing and actually be a quarterback. So I think his ego is going to kill him. But I'm not a big fan of Jordan Love, but I do respect the fact that he assumed a position for 2 or 3 years now behind a legend. And he could have gotten better in that time. So let's hope that he did. So you kind of got to give him like a 2-year evaluation.
Jordan Love?
Yeah, Jordan Love.
We don't want him. We don't want him to improve.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but I'm just saying you got to give him a 2-year evaluation on how he's going to do. So
I liked him, or he just kind of. I only liked him at the time because it was kind of like Mahomes type. Mahomes recently got drafted, and now Love comes in with the big arm type of thing, like somewhat similar stats to Mahomes, all that crazy stuff. Let's just hope that does not happen.
Gary, I just want to point out here, Jamie and I just put a video up about this, so we won't talk about it here. We're gonna make you go check that out.
Go check it out, Gary. I know you will. I'm surprised you didn't see it already. What's going on, Skol Mafia? What's going on, Killer? I guess Packers smoked the Jets with that Rodgers trade. We'll see. I mean, I'm just glad Rodgers is gone. God, I can't believe I said that.
It was one of those things where you just had to get what you get, because of his age and because. Right. He's going to a division where you have Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and all those guys. The AFC division is just much harder with those guys being good, and Joe Burrow, that you hope that he's going to do bad there. Right. So it's kind of like, we'll take what we can get and hope that this is the year that he goes off, kind of like when Brett Favre came to you guys, you know what I'm saying? And just absolutely takes you guys to the NFC Championship game. But you hope that happens. But, I mean, it's weird, but you got to look at his age too. Like Aaron Rodgers is not. He's doing this right now,
for sure.
So that's why they're trying to just surround him with everybody that makes sense to surround him with.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll talk about Levis a little bit and the rest of the quarterbacks because I actually we're going to kind of go through our positions of need and see what your top 5 is from each position. And we'll start with quarterback here, but we'll bring up Levis real quick just because it is the big thing here. And you brought up the ego thing, and that's the one thing there's 2 things. Of course, I don't evaluate players the way you do. But with Levis, there's something about him just taking too many sacks for me and not using not escaping the pocket when the pressure is on. I didn't really see him do that. It's almost like he's kind of like Kirk Cousins, where he doesn't really have that, like the eyes in the back of his head type of thing. At least that's what I kind of got from him from a playing style. That's one thing I was worried because that's like the number one thing with Kirk that he doesn't do. It's the reason why I love Bryce Young so much is because he does that so well, like improvises and escapes the pocket, and, keeps his eyes down the field, throw the ball, all that kind of stuff. So that's one thing that was making me nervous with him, with Levis. But the ego thing, the arrogance thing, that's one thing. It's like, obviously you want all the confidence in the world for someone who's a quarterback, but what part does it go into arrogance? What part does it go into not just, you getting smacked by a defensive player and they step over you or whatever, but also like taking instructions from, Kirk Cousins for a year if he was to be behind him and actually listen to him. Because I know Aaron Rodgers, even though Rodgers turned into Rodgers, but there was rumors that like first day of training camp, Rodgers goes up to Brett Favre and says like, this is my job now or something like that. So it's like that. Yeah. I don't really like that. Like obviously it works for Rodgers, but I don't like that arrogance. I think that can definitely.
That's like the 1% of 1%.
Yeah. 1% of that being successful. So that's,
but you got to think Aaron Rodgers came from he's not a dumb guy either. Go to Cal, go to Berkeley, Cal, man, you have to be a smart dude too. So he was already okay up here. Can't really say that about Will Levis. Like Kentucky's not this great academic school like Cal is, you know what I'm saying? So it's like when you look at the 2 situations, yeah, he might be an arrogant a-hole like everybody knows him to be, but he's not a dumb dude either.
Well, that's what we're kind of banking on is like maybe he's not as arrogant as people think, and maybe if Kevin O'Connell, who is very not arrogant, they're like the opposite. Our whole organization now with Kwesi and him, it's like the opposite of that. They're so just humble about everything. They're taking ownership on everything. If anything goes wrong, it starts with the head coach or it starts with the GM, whatever, all that kind of stuff. So you just hope, man, when they evaluate this player and they talk to him and have meetings with them, you think they would be able to smell that shit and hopefully, at least either say, all right, maybe it's not as bad as people are saying.
Yeah.
It just seems like that because maybe he's just an idiot in front of cameras. Who knows? Or
well, what's killing these kids right now is everybody crowning people to wear a gold jacket at the end of their career that have not even touched a blade of grass in the NFL yet. And I think that's what's killing Will Levis, because Will Levis, before offseason started, was the consensus number 1 guy next to Bryce Young. But the thing is when you start doing that to Will Levis last year before he started the season, like him being almost the consensus number 1 with Bryce Young, his play started to show it. Now, the thing that burns me up about Will Levis, and we thought we were going to see him at the Senior Bowl, the thing that burned me up about him was, okay, Bryce Young and Will Anderson, 2 probably going to be a top 3 in this draft. Yeah. Top 3 draft picks. They decided to play in their bowl game. NIL is there, so there's no reason not to play anymore, Then number 2, you didn't show up to any of the off-season games like the Senior Bowl. Number 3, what I heard was he's avoiding the media like crazy when it came to stuff. You know what I'm saying? And the Tennessee game where everybody was looking forward to him, it was the Hendon Hooker and Will Levis. He didn't show up through 3 picks. So it's like, what is this? Why does everybody like this guy? Even if you knew nothing about football, if I was just to tell, my wife knows about football, but what if I was just to tell her like, hey, I got this player that didn't do X, Y, and Z, but they were talking about he's a top 3 pick. If you were a GM not knowing anything about this guy and I just told you those 4 things, what would you say? She'd probably be like, why would we even draft a guy like that? That just never shows up for anything. Hendon Hooker was at the Senior Bowl with a full leg brace on. He tried to make himself presentable, was doing interviews and everything. That's the type of dude you want on your team.
Oh, I do like Hendon Hooker. Hooker.
Man, I'm a big Hendon Hooker fan.
Let me go through here. Let's see, hating on Jordan Love. So Killer Agates is a Viking fan and a Packer fan, and he says he's a young kid hating on a young stud, typically Viking fan. So the Packers smoked the Jets with that. I don't know. He said somewhere that he's a fan of both. I'm a Packers fan, but I also like the Vikings. Am I the first ever?
Very
man, probably.
Probably.
I don't know how that works. I don't know how that one.
I'm a Jaguars and Seahawks fan, but they're in two completely different conferences and divisions. So.
And completely opposite sides of the country.
Yeah,
exactly.
Packers more than anything. More than anything. Sarah, what's going on, Sarah?
What's up, Sarah?
Franchise, what's going on? What's going on? School fam. I don't know if I said what's up, Killer Agate. So what's up, man? What's going on? Justin, Purple and Gold for Days, Minnesota Vikings podcast. What's going on, Justin?
I see the ECG members in here. We got Soar, Franchise, and Fishing. All those,
everybody in
all
here.
them part of ECG. We come through deep.
5 interceptions for Hooker at Tennessee, 2 years. That's insane to me. So we'll go. All right, let's start going into what's your top 5 quarterbacks look like going into this draft. Let's do that.
So my top 5 quarterbacks: Bryce Young, number 1. And when I say number 1 to number 2 is a big, huge stretch. I mean, it's it's deep.
Yeah.
My number 2, CJ Stroud. My number 3, Hendon Hooker. My number 4 was Max Duggan. My number 5 is DTR.
Okay. So we had the same top 3. We had the same top 3. I think Duggan and DTR. What rounds do you think? I know DTR really's been kind of going up on people's mock drafts, whatever. What rounds do you think they would go into? Because if we don't end up with any of these other top 5 quarterbacks, with Levis or Richardson included in that, and we go someone that's later rounds, I want us to just go find our quarterback. Like, I'm sick of us always trying to pick these later round picks. But if we don't get one early, I still would like to have a chance at somebody. And I'm sitting there with Dugan or DTR as well, as I'm hoping that if we were to pick a quarterback, maybe even the 3rd round or later, it'd be one of those two.
Is Duggan kind of being killed by recency bias here with that national championship game, you think?
I think so. Well, here's the thing. I think for you guys, out of Hendon Hooker, AR, DTR, that Max Duggan is a Vikings pick to me. And here's why. Because you guys have been, and I think this whole thing about, and I've said this in Raps chat, and Sarah's been there, she knows I've been in the comments section saying this too. Like, I think the Vikings fans and people evaluating the Vikings are taking this whole thing like completely different. Because tell me the difference between what Josh Allen's expectations are versus Kirk's. They're like in the same situation, but you don't see the Bills fans wanting to replace Josh Allen. And he's had higher expectations every year. We said the Bills for 3 years straight should be in the AFC Championship game going to the Super Bowl. Everybody across the board because of everything around him. Kirk Cousins can be top 10 in statistics like Josh Allen, and y'all get him out of here.
Yeah,
like,
for real, get him.
It's a team sport. It's not Kirk Cousins lost us this game. It's the Vikings players lost us this game. And but we're giving that excuse to the Bills, but not giving it to the Vikings. That's why I was telling, Justin and Rap the other day. So, but I understand that there are some differences here and this, that, and the third. But I just wanted to put that on the table. And I think the thing that would kind of subside all of that and what Josh Allen gives you versus Kirk is his legs. That's the only difference between the two. If you want the next Josh Allen type of quarterback that's going to give it his all every single game, without Max Duggan last year, TCU wouldn't have even got to the national championship. Max Duggan's the reason why they lost in their conference game and still made it to the championship game. Because of Max Duggan and the aura around him in college football, he wasn't even a starter coming into the season. He should have won the Heisman Trophy. I mean, if we're being completely honest about it, like, he should have won the Heisman. But how you win the quarterback of the year award, but not the Heisman, it's crazy to me. But without Max Duggan, there was no national championship TCU team. They should have got smacked. And let's not act. They probably had the worst loss against Georgia. But let's not act like last year. And this is for people that say they watch football like everybody else, and that's the only thing that they look at. Georgia was smacking everybody last year. Let's be completely honest about this here. So you can't just say, "Oh, TCU got smashed in the championship game."
Right,
TCU was smacking the dog crap out of people in the SEC, which is the best conference in college football. So
I kind of look at Tennessee last year too, how they were undefeated, putting up huge numbers until they ran into Georgia. Then
until Hendon Hooker got hurt. That's where everything happened.
Right.
So if Hendon Hooker didn't get hurt, he was Heisman winner, bar none. I mean, he was on a trajectory that nobody else was on last year. But I think just with the grittiness of Max Duggan, I don't think DTR gives that to you. I don't think AR gives that to you. Hendon Hooker, the only thing about him is his injury. Yeah. But if you want a gritty guy that's going to come in and make a difference when he steps in the game and is your starter, you guys would be super impressed. You'd be like, get Kirk out of here. Just let him go in there and take his lumps and bumps. But Jamie, here's the answer to your question on why he's dropping. He said it himself in an interview the other day that I was watching, because I tried to pay attention to all the stuff that they're saying too. He said the reason why I wasn't the starter at TCU the first game, or wasn't named the starter, was because the other guy was better at practice than me. He was kicking my butt in practice. The other thing is he's like, I'm not the best looking player when it comes to individual workouts either. He's like, I'm not that guy. But when I'm in the game, I look like a completely different beast. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
it's fair.
Yeah, NFL teams are going to evaluate the whole package, how you practice, your individual workouts, which you did last year. And unfortunately for him, that's why he's dropping down. But when he steps into the game in preseason for whatever team, I almost guarantee you going into the next year, people are going to be like, who's that Max Duggan guy? You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I was surprised that people are so low on him, honestly.
I love him, man.
I really think it is that recency bias with that. The last time you saw him wasn't so great. And I mean, going against a team like Georgia.
You were talking about the practice thing. Let me actually Skol TY for actually skipped this earlier, man. So Dante, always trust the tape, even when it comes to practices. If the guy practice goes and disappears in a game, or does not practice well and show up for the games. So even when it comes to practice, good.
Well, that's like the Max Duggan thing. He's saying,
yeah.
I guess he's asking which one would I rather have here. Or something along the like.
I mean, you want and disappear in games, or does not practice well. So, or is it like saying if you practice well, you'll could play well in games, and disappears in games, or just not practice well? Skol TY, you come back and redo that one for us.
Yeah, if you're asking which one would I rather have, I want the guy that's going to show up for me in games, but you got to play the game too. It's like us going to work every day. We got to do our job to some degree, you know what I'm saying? Or else we'll get fired. Yeah. It's the same thing with this. You got to show that you want to be there. Of course, the complete package would be the guy that shows up in the game and practices real well and makes his teammates better too. But whatever gives you the results on Sundays is what's going to get it. It's going to be like, he's not the greatest practice player, and we know that.
Yeah.
But we win games with him, so
at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
You can get away with it in the NFL. You can't get away with it in college.
Killer Eggs, he's a bust.
I can't. I wouldn't believe the Christian Watson hype.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I think he's going to nosedive this year.
Aaron Rodgers still is quarterback, but he showed up towards the end of the year. But I don't know. Any Packers players, we're outing them. Greg, what's going on, man? Welcome back in. All right, so we went through some quarterbacks. So I think with quarterbacks for us, obviously there's the news with us possibly trading up for the second overall pick for Will Levis. I would not want that to happen. Obviously, if we go do something like that, I'm just going to probably hop on board anyways. This is a Vikings podcast. I'm going to be biased towards our team and just hope, But I think we were kind of sitting at the spot for most of this offseason of trading back and getting Hendon Hooker in the second round, and then have him sitting around behind Kirk Cousins while he gets healthy and all that stuff. So we kind of liked it there. Dante, how strong you take interviews over tape this time of year? I feel character is tell all, be all.
I mean, it's important. I mean, because you got to understand, and people are going to hate this answer, but it's the truth. unless you play lights out and you're a quiet guy, you're going to need to be a media darling, especially if you're a star player somewhat. So doing as many interviews as you can and saying the right things. And I learned that at the Senior Bowl. Like, every single player there knew that this was their opportunity to get that side of it out the way. If it wasn't such an important thing, they wouldn't do interviews at the combine. And some people just totally bomb it. And that's what you heard about Will Levis. Like, he was bombing interviews too, which is like that arrogance thing that we were telling you about. So, I mean, it's always attractive to any of us that if a player speaks really, really well, we tend to cling on to that guy personally. Like, Anthony Richardson has that big aura about himself.
Yeah.
Every time he talks, you're like, man, I really like this kid. And I'm conflicted too. I'm like, man, I really like the way Anthony Richardson sounds. I'm a Florida State fan. I hate Florida, but I love Tebow. You know what I'm saying? I was the same thing with Tebow. I was like, man, I love Tebow. The way he plays and the way he talks is great. I had the same thing about Anthony Richardson, but I can't ignore the way that he played. And some people can't separate that, which then gives them like this veil of confidence going into the season. Even when they don't perform well, you try to make up excuses for the character side of the guy when 90% of the guys in the NFL are really good dudes. Not all of them are going to perform like 90%, 90% their best all the time.
Like I'll even go to with coaching with that. Like when Kevin O'Connell was hired, a lot of people were like, who is this guy? He was a non-play calling offensive coordinator for the Rams. Like what's he about? And then you listen to his first press conference and just he sold me just on how good he was talking and just kind of sharing what his vision was. Like, I think that is big in influencing people's thoughts on players.
You got to sell tickets,
right?
You got to sell tickets. You got to sell jerseys. And the other thing too is like the players get a percentage of those jerseys that are sold. So, you know what I'm saying? It's extra income for them. Like everything at this point in time is revolved around money. A lot of the trades that get made too are because of money, and people don't want to see it as that, but it's just is what it is. Whenever your favorite player gets shipped out, think about all the interviews that he was doing. It was easy for people for us to trade Marshawn Lynch because he wasn't the best at interviews when he went to the Raiders. But he went somewhere where he's from and he loved playing for that team at the time. But that's literally what it was. It was, we love Marshawn and his play has fallen off a little bit and he's bombing interviews. It's easier for us to ship you out. You go to Oakland and do your thing. You know what I'm saying? You got it's people are going to hate that answer, but that's just strictly how it is. It's the business side of it too.
And UFC is like the extreme of that recently, like with the McGregors and I mean, even the Izzy's and all those guys, they kind of have like maybe some of it's real, like McGregor kind of comes off like a persona, but you're just really trying to market yourself the best you can. And I think you see that even in other sports, especially like basketball and stuff too, because like you said, I mean, it sells jerseys, man. If you can become a favorite just by your personality, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, you're selling yourself to the fans too. So it's not only the monetary value. Your team is going to give you more of a chance. I say this with Carson Wentz. The only reason why the Eagles kept around Carson Wentz so long is because he was really good to the media. He was a Christian guy. He balled out. It was a big reason why they went to the Super Bowl before he got hurt. You know what I'm saying? Right. But do you think for a second the Eagles wanted to keep him a year longer than they did? No, they invested so much money into him. If they could have shipped him out after his injury, they probably would have and just moved forward.
Right. What's going on, AJ? Hashtag Skol.
What's up, AJ?
Dante seriously hates the Vikings by liking Cousins so much. That's
it's not even
answer.
No, it's not even me liking Kirk. I have to defend him because it's weird. Like, you won't give the same excuse for Josh Allen, but you'll give it for Kirk Cousins. Like, it's weird to me.
Kirk Cousins he's missing something though. There's something there. I think with Kirk Cousins, it's for me for sure, because I was on board with Kirk Cousins when we first got him. But it was when people tell you like, hey, he doesn't play well in big moments or just under the lights, like Saturday Night Football, whatever. I was like, that's seems like kind of bullshit or whatever. Like, I don't think a player would really just suck on those games. Well, he's proven time and time again, other than this year, other than the last throw of the game in playoffs, of course, that he does, like, you can just see him so nervous out there. I don't know what it is. Like, he's just missing all his throws in those big moments. And I slowly was like, he just doesn't have it. even in the last couple of years, he's kind of shown improvement in all those areas, but still now I'm at the point now it's like now I have to see that in playoffs. And then of course playoffs come around. I said it the whole season, everybody was on Kirk Cousins, and I was like, all right, like I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I need to see this in playoffs. Like, and the first game was not his fault. We should have won without him at all. It was our defense's fault.
You guys are 14-3 last year, right?
13-4.
13-4. Yeah.
13-4?
Yeah. So he played great all season. He did it all season. He came back all season long. But then, of course, in playoffs, it wasn't his fault for that game, but the last play of the game for us is when he just made a poor decision. And it's just those one single decisions are what we see as Viking fans from him throughout since he's been a Viking. Is those one he can have a great game the whole entire time and just one decision that even it's not a team sport, but this is on you. Like this was.
Can I ask you guys a question about that though? The 13 wins. Do you feel like that Kirk Cousins was a big part of that?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I do.
Okay.
I think Kirk Cousins is a really good quarterback. I really do. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he shies away from the big lights. Like I think he gets nervous or something. I don't know.
And it's like eight fourth quarter comebacks. I would disagree.
So here you go. Here's how I'll crap on our quarterback, right? Here's how I'll crap on the Jaguars quarterback. Okay. So you think 13 of all 13 of your wins, Kirk Cousins was a big part of that, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so tell me why the media is overblowing Trevor Lawrence for having 8 really good games this year. What about the other 9 that he looked like complete dog shit in? But then the media will overblow and say that he's such a good quarterback, that he's a top 10 quarterback. So you failed for over half the season, but the 8 games and then throwing 4 interceptions in the first half of the Chargers game. Like if it was any other quarterback, let that have been Lamar Jackson. They would be shitting all on him for throwing 4 interceptions. Yeah. But since it's Trevor Lawrence, we gave the excuse. So I feel differently because if I could flip-flop Trevor Lawrence and Kirk Cousins,
I'll take Trevor Lawrence still.
yeah. I mean, he's younger and it's only his second year. I always get quarterbacks 3 years. So I'm not saying that I wish anything bad on Trevor Lawrence. I'm just saying right now he has not impressed me. Like everybody's like, oh, he's top 10. No, he's like 16, 17 based off of his good performances. But I still think I would rank Kirk Cousins a little higher than him at like 13 or 14 if I had to rate all 32 quarterbacks right now. Yeah. So I think I just think, like, with that being said, like a top 12 or 13 quarterback, a lot of teams would love to have and then just kind of build around that. And the other thing is, like, on the other side of that, most quarterbacks that play in the NFL never get to sniff the Super Bowl. So for people that say, oh, I want an athletic quarterback, or I want a quarterback that's going to get us to the Super Bowl, or Rex Grossman and Trent Dilfer and all these quarterbacks got their team to the Super Bowl, and, Trent Dilfer won one, Rex Grossman was close to winning. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it really just depends on the whole philosophy. I think this year would be a lot different because Brian Flores is not going to let your defense suck. Yeah. But it's easy to have a top 6 offense like you guys had and a bottom 30 defense. No team ever gets 13 wins like you guys do when it's that lopsided. You guys got lucky. I
think the fear is like we could have all that working together. Let's say we're in the Super Bowl, we have top 5 defense, offense. We'll say top 10 defense, top 5, 10 offense, whatever. Just really good. And it comes down to Kirk to win the game in the Super Bowl or something like that. Like a lot of Vikings fans, that's the area. It's just that one moment in this entire game is what scares us. Like he can play well, even though there is times where, like even last year, I would tell people throughout this season was not this past season, but this season before. I think we just beat the Steelers, and it was like we had a real good chance to make playoffs. We just had to win like a few of our next games or whatever. But Kirk has his worst stretch of the entire year in those, but not just like he only had 7 interceptions, I think, that year. But in those 4 games, he had 5 of them, which isn't super terrible, but it's just. And then he just looked off. I don't know. It's just watching him all the time. And in those big moments, other than this year until the last throw of the game, I didn't want. It's hard. It sucks. I wish he just didn't do that. So then we probably wouldn't be having all these conversations about Kirk Cousins this whole offseason.
Yeah,
losing.
I get it. I really do. Like, and that's what I try to tell people. Like, I'm just trying to be fair to what Kirk has done, and just to have a different take that I'm not a Vikings fan. So
right.
I just want to give a different spin on it. But I do agree that you have to go into this season knowing that your future is right around the corner because he's getting older. I absolutely think that this is the last resort for Kirk. And then you can say, I've made plenty of videos on my channel saying like, oh, I thought this, I was wrong about this player. I was wrong about this. I was wrong about this. I don't mind eating crow. That, if you can dish it, you got to be able to take it too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But here's the thing. I think you guys should draft Max Duggan, and I'm sure you guys would be impressed because I know a lot of the Trey Lance talk is going on, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's absolutely worth this for you guys to trade and give away. You guys, John Lynch is going to nickel and dime you to get a quarterback. That's just how he is. That's how he's kept his franchise running, and that's why they've always been. Until, like I said to somebody, the NFC West has been everybody's daddies until proven otherwise. The last 12 or 13 years, they've either had a team in the NFC Championship game or in the Super Bowl, right? Like, just think about the history. So they're the top dogs. If you want to get one of their players, those GMs are going to nickel and dime you. And if you guys get Trey Lance and he gets hurt, you guys are going to be more mad at Kwesi for doing that instead of going into this draft and getting somebody like DTR and then putting him in the game and he does something like trash, and then you guys can just say, well, he's a 4th round quarterback. It was okay. Yeah. We can always look towards our future. So those are the two things. It's like, do you want to waste all this capital and get in this guy and then he gets hurt and that ends up being your thing?
Right.
Or you just want to waste a draft pick and then just move on with your life. You know what I'm saying?
And that's one thing. Like, I don't think anybody knows what they would actually ask for Trey Lance. And I think a lot of people think it's a lot less. Like, when we talk about Trey Lance, people are saying like a 3rd round pick. And I just don't feel like he's trading Trey Lance for a 3rd round pick. Because obviously I wouldn't care. I don't give a fuck about a 3rd round pick. Like, I'd give a 3rd round pick for a chance at Trey Lance personally, because I wouldn't care if it doesn't work out. We lost a 3rd round pick.
Who's your best player outside of, let's say, let's do this. Who's your best player outside of JJ, TJ Hawkinson, Dalvin Cook,
CJ Ham,
and Harrison Smith?
CJ Ham. But we'll just say besides CJ Ham too.
Yeah. Who's your best player?
For the Vikes, I'd probably rate. Ooh,
that's a tough one.
I'd probably say
Christian Darrisaw, maybe.
So Darrisaw. Okay. Which would be nice because they could always upgrade an offensive line. So you would have to give up Darrisaw and a 1st round pick to get Trey Lance.
Nope. I wouldn't even
exactly.
Give a 1st round pick.
If I'm John Lynch, that's who I would come after. Christian Darrisaw. I know I can't get the other 4. Christian Darrisaw, can I get him and a 1st round pick? You can get Trey Lance.
No. I would not. Even a 1st round pick would be. I don't think I'd want to do that. That's when, like, the scenarios everybody's been giving us have been a lot. Not even a 1st round pick. So I'm like, I would take a chance for probably anything less than a 1st round pick. But there's no way that's happening. Even if Lynch is in the situation where he has these 2 quarterbacks and it's pretty obvious he can just hold on to Lance and let his career kind of.
So who's the quarterback that they just got? Sam Darnold, right?
Yep.
So if he gets Christian Darrisaw, what is that doing? Protecting either Sam Darnold or Brock Purdy when they get back. They don't care about giving away Trey Lance at that point because the 49ers upgraded and they can get another good person in the draft. But they're holding on to Trey Lance just in case. Just in case Trey Lance is good and we keep him, then we look great. But the only thing is if he's great with you guys, but we get Christian Darrisaw and he's great for us and we get another great player in the draft, equally almost win. Right. So that's how that's how John Lynch is thinking as a GM. It's like, it's got to play out, but I need to make you look like an idiot if it doesn't work out either. You know what I'm saying? That's why they always have like these like what happened with what's his name with Carson Wentz, where the Eagles are like, he's got to play 70% of the snaps. You know what I'm saying? Then we give you a 1st round pick. It's got to be like that. That's why they always do this stuff, because it's like it's got to be equal. But also, if you want my player, I'm gonna make you look like an idiot if he sucks, but we're always gonna look good because this has to be a surefire bet for us too.
Right. Anyone watching and not already subscribing and not liking, these boys give great content. Listen to Gary, everybody. Click the buttons, the like button, subscribe buttons. Go to East Coast Gridiron and subscribe there as well. Giving away the Justin Jefferson rookie card on the pink foil. Hashtag Skol in the comments to win that. All right, let's dive back. That's one thing. Like anytime Kirk Cousins goes up, like you could obviously you've seen it with Rap and Justin the Kirk. I've been on there. We'll go for like 3 hours on that one subject. So
on this show, it's not it's he. We'll go on to that.
Well, it's so much easier when you're like on the I don't hate Kirk Cousins. So I hate saying hater side, but it is kind of the hater side. Whatever.
You just want to. I know where you guys are coming from, and I can explain it to you from a guy that's not a Vikings fan, but watch you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are just tired of not being able to get over the hump, and the easiest thing to do is to go to the guy that's older, the guy that's been consistent in his career, and you feel like you need to that he might be the missing piece of why you can't get over the hump. And it's annoying to see all these teams that are having success having mobile quarterback that can just improvise. Then you look at those moments and you're like, man, if he was just a little bit more mobile, able to get the ball to JJ like a Joe Burrow or something. We're not talking about being a scrambling quarterback. We just need you to get out the pocket, Kirk, and throw that one little hitch and then get us a first down, baby. That's all we need.
I know. That's all we need, man. That is. I'm telling you. That's it. That's why I like Bryce Young so much, because he just does that. That's this whole draft class. I've just been looking at that out of the quarterback just because that's what I want to see, because there's just too many times where
I don't care about his size, man. I will say I was wrong about Bryce Young this year, and here's why. He won the Heisman. He had an incredible year. Like there was nobody was even close to winning the Heisman. I think he won it unanimous that year. Came into this year and I said, all right, CJ Stroud's going to take Ohio State to the national championship, and he's going to be the surefire bet for Heisman. Mm-hmm. I was wrong, but I also hate Ryan Day, their head coach. I can't stand him because he play calls so conservative. I think he's the most overrated coach in college football, and I was right. Conservative play call until they played Georgia. Then CJ Stroud balled out because he let him air it out. Mm-hmm. So I was like, if CJ Stroud was like this all year, we'd be looking at something different. The thing about Bryce Young that was so impressive, he got crunched up against Texas. He got crunched up against Tennessee, kept getting back up, kept improvising, kept his team in the game. Didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver. Didn't have a 1,000-yard running back this year. It's the first time that's happened in Alabama's history in like the last 15 years. Like, it's something ridiculous.
Right.
Bryce Young is a consensus number one. Don't care about his size. If Tua was playing quarterback at Alabama last year, he'd be retiring in college. Bryce Young, don't care about his size, man. He's a tough dude, and whoever gets him, his size is not going to matter. They've been saying that since he was in high school. I remember reading the scouting reports on Bryce Young when he came out of Modern Day, man. It's like the dude is just. He's different, man. And I became a believer this year after I watched that Texas game. I literally did one of these numbers. I took my hat off, man. I was like, whoo. I feel bad for him. That kid did everything he could to win, man.
Carolina has to go after him for sure. They got to. If they don't, then we're trading up to number 2. Houston's not going to let that go either. I think that's one biggest smokes. I think this whole this draft season was Bryce Young not being number 1. And I don't think I call bullshit the whole time, and he's going to be, I think, for sure. Killer Eggets, where's that Viking fan side? You said Packer and Viking fan. We're only seeing the Packer. Let's get the Viking fan in here.
I think he's just trolling it.
Yeah, I know you're trolling. We like Killer Eggets, so as long as he's he says he's a Viking fan. We'll go with your half Viking.
He keeps sticking with the fact that we're mad that they took Watson from us, even though
I actually was really happy when they took Watson, to be honest, because I was a huge Pickens fan. And I was so happy that they went for Watson instead of George Pickens. So, I mean, the Packers I think they missed one on that one for sure.
I love George Pickens.
Me too.
And if Christian Watson could catch his first ball of the year, their season might have gone a little bit differently. But
Christian Watson is a garbage time monster, just like he was at North Dakota State. Like I've been trying to tell people that, man. And he's fast and he catch some open field balls, and then people are like, oh, he's a beast. Or catch some red zone touchdowns. Oh, he's got 9 touchdowns. Well, let's really put it in the context here of like how effective he was. Yes, getting touchdowns for your team, but when you catch 2 to 3 passes a game and your drop percentage is like a 50% every single game, like things could be overinflated there. So I'm not sold on Christian Watson yet. But did he surprise me a little bit? Absolutely, because there was some games that he was sensational in. But like when you're failing 70% of the time and winning 30% of the time, you got to put that into perspective too. And Aaron Rodgers was his quarterback. I mean, just say what you want.
Didn't really have very many other options, really. And plus, he's a rookie, so I don't think people are covering Christian Watson like he was a great wide receiver, like putting their best players on him.
If Robert Tonyan was healthy the whole year, we wouldn't be talking about Christian Watson. I truly believe that. Yeah. Or who did have Mercedes Lewis? He's like 70 years old now.
All right,
anyway,
so
we still have a mock draft to get to here. So maybe do you want to speed round through the rest of our
let's
needs?
speed round through the top 5 thing, and then we'll do the mock draft. But we were talking about wide receivers. So wide receiver, top 5 wide receivers.
I got my whole list up here. So top 5 wide receivers. Number 5, Michael Wilson out of Stanford. Number 4, Zay Flowers out of Boston College. Charlie Jones is my number 3 out of Purdue. Jackson Smith and Jigba is number 2. My number 1 is Jordan Addison from USC. That's
my number 1. Michael Wilson. Before we go to the next one, I just want one question. What's your thoughts on him? Because obviously he had an injury history. That's what was going on with him, and that's probably the reason why he's falling down. Because I do really like what I see from him, especially like red zone. Like he seems, out of all the wide receivers I looked at, he was like the best one at like pinpointing the ball. Even though I don't think he's 6'1", 6 foot, maybe not the biggest.
Yeah, he's 6'1", like 205.
205. So he's not the biggest, but out of anyone I saw, he had that like just, I don't know. I always don't know how to say it, but like pinpointing the ball, like going up 150-50 balls type of guy in the end zone.
You're absolutely right.
And you see a lot of that from him, which I really like. It was impressive. And he's probably, especially for a guy that a lot of people also think probably is ranked in the top 10 for wide receivers, nobody's talking about him really at all.
I watched a couple Stanford games because it was him and Elijah Higgins there. And Elijah Higgins going to move to tight end. That kid is huge, man. They moved him to tight end at the Senior Bowl practices because he was so big. But that was like his running mate at wide receiver. So for people to say about Tanner McKee that he didn't have any weapons is absolute garbage. Don't listen to that. But Michael Wilson, Riley, and everybody knows Riley Moss. How I like Riley Moss. Riley Moss is fast. He's
UCLA.
Iowa. So here's our media passes from the Senior Bowl. Right on the back of this thing is a barcode or a QR code that you can scan. Every single day that we were there, you can scan that QR code and kind of see like all these in-depth statistics about all these players, like their speed on routes, all this crazy stuff. Riley Moss was like number 1 in all like the speed categories. Michael Wilson route. I got on video on our channel. Michael Wilson like 3 times routed Riley Moss up, kept up with his speed, went up and high pointed the ball. And I was like, well, I can't necessarily say Riley Moss is not that good because if he was more physical, this probably would have been an incomplete pass. But that's when I was like, Michael Wilson is the man. Then I went back and watched some more Stanford games. The games that he's healthy in, he's an absolute monster. I was like, there's no way why people shouldn't be talking about Michael Wilson. Take away his injury history, he's a top 5 receiver in this class.
Okay. We don't have a need there, but how about running backs?
Running backs, my top 5. This is gonna piss people off.
Oh boy! Casey knows. So this is why he asked running back.
Yeah.
Wait, is Bijan here?
Huh?
Bijan Robinson is my number 5 from Texas. Tyjae Spears from Tulane is my number 4. This is the surprise one. People are like, "What?" When you talk about Will Levis, there was one dude on this team. When we watched tape, you can go back on our channel and watch. We were like, yo, who is this guy? Hold up. This dude's a beast. Chris Rodriguez from Kentucky is my number 3.
Okay.
Zach Charbonnet from UCLA is my number 2. And my number 1 is the man that tore his Achilles, ran for 1,600 yards, 20 touchdowns, 19 straight 100-yard games. The dude is a beast. Muhammad Ibrahim from Minnesota is my number one. It's not even close to me.
I love that take. I love.
I know
I'm a big Gopher
set
fan.
that one up for sure.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you did. I knew that he was your number one. I thought Casey did,
like
so that's hilarious.
That was good shit.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
If we didn't re-sign Madison, we were thinking like if we were to somehow able to get him, you'd be like the perfect complement for someone who's just fat, like more of like that faster type of guy. Because that dude's a bowling ball. He's a
Muhammad Ibrahim. Every time he gets the ball, he's not trying to do like Bijan. I hated watching Bijan's tape because it was like he was like, and then every time, like 70% of the time, he wasn't going anywhere. Muhammad Ibrahim was just like, give me the ball, son, right up the middle. Running over people. I run into the sideline running over people. It was like every single time he got the ball, he meant it. And I'm like, this dude just came off an Achilles injury, and he absolutely. Iowa was the number 3 defense. When we watched the tape on Iowa, they were hitting dudes like it was nothing. All them dudes. Muhammad Ibrahim ran for like 200 plus on those guys with ease. So, but we're talking about Bijan Robinson playing against Baylor, who was ranked like number 50 in defense. Like, come on, son. Like, what are we talking about here? The guy that played the better competition in the Big Ten is not getting the hype that Bijan Robinson is getting. It's absolutely crazy because you know what? Bijan Robinson's highlights are him doing that one little jump cut, running for 15 yards. But they don't realize 70% of the game is him just like trying to figure out where to go. And this dude was immune to running to the left for whatever reason. I mean, it was like, if you cut to the left, Bijan, all you have to do is beat one guy. I have no idea why people are so infatuated with Bijan Robinson. I get it. But, I mean, like I said, I watched the tape on all these dudes. Tyjae Spears is one of those dudes that's just going to get better as the season goes. Man, he reminds me of Dalvin Cook. And I'm a Florida State guy. I watched every single snap Dalvin Cook had. Every single snap.
How do you feel about Gibbs out of Alabama? I know he's gaining some first round steam now.
Say that again?
Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama.
I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I do. He would probably be like number 6 on this list, to be completely honest. I was hard pressed to put him in number 5 over Bijan.
Yeah.
But I think Bijan's playmaking ability is a little better. But Jahmyr Gibbs, I know people compare him to Alvin Kamara, and that's the best comparison for him. I mean, to be completely honest with you, he was Bryce Young's best weapon last year. He's the only reason he could have had 1,000 yards receiving or 1,000 yards running when you really looked at it. But I just think his size and him having not all that much tread on the tires is really going to get him in trouble at the next level to me. But yeah, I mean, I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody chose him in their first round. He wouldn't be one of those things where somebody chose him like in the 20s and I heard his name come off the board. I wouldn't be like, wow, that was a bad pick. Yeah. It just depends on what team you want him to go to. I think he's either Tyjae Spears or him should go to the Saints because you don't know what's going to happen to Kamara and their system's already used to them, having a running back like that.
True. All right, so let's go to the defensive because on offense, I mean, we could go guards and stuff, but we're going to stay away from that. Let's go to defense. Start with some. Actually, we'll go with. We think our biggest need is defensive tackle.
Okay.
Specifically, or defensive interior, whatever. We don't have anybody, pretty much. So, who's your top 5 for that?
And interior.
Yep. Interior.
All right. So, I have Kalijah Kancey was my number 5 out of Pitt, but I really truly think he's going to move to edge or outside linebacker later on in his career. I think people are going to make him lose weight because he's so versatile. And I think he's going to get eaten up by like centers and guards in the NFL are no joke. So I don't know how much success he's going to have there, but for what his this is kind of like a respect thing because I'm not a Kalijah Kancey fan like that. But out of respect for what he did, he's number 5. Moro Ajamo is the better version of Kalijah Kancey. I mean, that's the best comparable I can give you. Siaki Ika, I would put him as my number 1, but I just got to be real. Siaki Ika is not fast, but he will be that Jordan Davis type player that was like at Georgia, not with the Eagles. You'll get a lot of him pulling double and triple teams because he's just so much damn stronger than everybody, which is going to make everybody else around him good. So you pick him if you just want him to be that piece. He's not a sexy pick for whatever reason. That's actually going to be my next sliders episode too, so look out for that.
Okay.
Brian Bresee, can't say enough good things about him. The only tape that I'll tell you guys to go watch, and we watched that game live, and it was an inspiring performance from him. He literally won the game for Clemson. Clemson versus Wake Forest last year after his sister passed away. If you can get that Brian Bresee every single game, he's going to be a monster. I mean, he's good. He's fast for his size. Not as strong as Siaki Ika, but he's really strong too. And then, I mean, Jalen Carter is just a freak. He's probably the best player in this whole class of out of everybody. He's probably the number one. Like, if I had to make a big board, he's probably a number one right now. The only thing that bugs you about him is just his mental stuff going on with, all his.
Will do, Justin.
All his character issue stuff, I guess you could say.
Right.
Bresee is injury prone. He is.
I mean, that's part of it,
It is, but you're asking me my top 5. I'm not looking at injuries. I'm looking at what you're going to get when the player is healthy.
Absolutely.
And that's what, because, I mean, you have people like, we just mentioned Muhammad Ibrahim tore his Achilles and came back like nothing ever happened. So you just don't know. And plus, he was the best person on that defense. I mean, he was doing everything for that defense, switching sides. They even pulled him back at linebacker at one point. I mean, it was crazy what he was doing. So I think just how he was utilized, for the most part at Clemson is why he became injury prone. I think a lot of people were trying to dig at him too, especially as offensive lineman. So when you're having those kind of trench battles all the time, he wasn't getting flip-flopped out. He was in there like 98% of the snaps, which will take a toll on you your whole career.
Yeah. How you feel about edge rushers? Top 5 edge rushers.
Top 5 edge rushers for me. Now this was a fun one. I told you I had Keon White as my number 1, so we're not, he's my number 1. But let's go in reverse order like I have it. Will McDonald from Iowa State is probably the most athletic, gifted player in this draft, next to Will Anderson. I don't know if you guys saw the video of him jumping over the car, bro. Like
I missed who you said on that one. Who was it?
Will McDonald from Iowa State.
Yeah. Yep. I do like him.
Yeah, so Will McDonald at number 5. Lucas Van Ness. I don't know whether to put him interior defensive lineman or edge rusher or linebacker because he plays all 3.
Right.
And a lot of people are saying he wasn't a starter. Well, it's like, how do you put somebody as a starter that plays starting position at all 3? So, but Lucas Van Ness is the most versatile defensive lineman in this draft. So out of respect for that, he's number 4. Will Anderson is my number 3. Oh, Will, why is he your number 3? Byron Young that I told you guys about from Tennessee. After I saw him run that 40 time, everything else that I saw, if he can get with a good defensive line coach, he will be the best edge rusher in this class by far. I totally believe that. But Keon White, if somebody can just, I'll tell you a funny story about Keon White, right? So we were at the Senior Bowl, right? And we were doing our interviews. And he was sitting behind us the whole time reading a book. And we didn't even know it was him. And then we were talking while we were at the practices, and they were like, yo, Keon White was sitting behind us, right? I was like, what? Then he's just out there, like, getting through all these drills, being the best person at practice, every single rep. And we were like, man, he's a quiet guy. And then we tried to give him an interview, and it was just like, he was just with his family, like, talking. I was like, I really don't want to bother him. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't seem right. Like, he's just about his business. So if somebody could get him just to kind of, like, I feel like he's the type of dude that just has a lot of anger, and when he unleashes it, it's gonna be like nasty for everybody involved. I think he's the next best thing waiting to happen when somebody unlocks that. Like if he gets to you guys and let Brian Flores unlock that, boy oh boy, you don't have to worry about Danielle Hunter or Zadarius Smith for a long time. You just put Keon White in there, he'll be a beast.
Dude, that'd be sweet. I'm on board with that. I'm gonna be looking into him for sure.
All right, how about linebacker?
Linebackers. Hey, Gary, hold on a second. I really want you boys to earn patrons so I can send my thank you for your content. You know what, Gary? We'll get something set up. We're trying to just wait till we hit 1,000 subscribers just because, I don't know, we're not really worried about anything else. But
once you guys get there, man, I'll definitely become a member. I'll support everybody that way.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. But no, we just appreciate everybody being in here. That's enough for now, man. Gary, you in here talking to everybody and communicating and being involved with all of this. That's enough for us for now, for sure.
Which, by the way, we did put the Packers fan a little bit of a timeout here. So
yeah, we did.
Oh, he got sniped.
Yeah,
we got a moderator called ECG Sniper, and it's our logo with a helmet on with a sniper rifle.
That's awesome.
we need to see once we hit 1,000 subs, we'll get a moderator. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's the first thing we
linebackers.
do.
Linebackers, Henry To'oTo'o from Alabama is my number 5. He's probably the most underrated linebacker in his class to me.
Who did you say? Sorry.
Henry To'oTo'o.
Okay, Henry
from Alabama.
Yeah.
Drew Sanders from Arkansas. Got to give him his respect. He's probably I don't want to say the best tackler in his class, but his bigger brother is my number 2. Let's just say that he shares a similar style with my number 2 guy. My number 3, DeMarvion Overshown from Texas.
Skol Mafia loved him.
Yeah,
I think
guy.
Yeah, he's another linebacker that once people learn to unlock all the things that he can do too, he's gonna be crazy like Keon White.
Yeah.
Jack Campbell is my personal favorite in this class. You remember Zach Taylor that used to play for the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah.
He's Zach Taylor 2.0. That's his NFL comparable to me.
That's
Hall of Famer Zach Taylor. And then he's a personal favorite of mine, but the only reason I put I meant to say Drew Sanders is the worst version of Jack Campbell to me. But Noah Sewell from Oregon is my number 1, and here's why. Out of all these guys, he's the most versatile. He's not great at everything, but as far as coverage, as far as rushing the quarterback, as far as strength, as far as tackling, he's the most universally good linebacker that you can plug into any system. He reminds me of Eric Kendricks.
Yeah, which
that's what I just watching him. I thought he was he looked like a thicker Eric Kendricks to me.
Yeah. He reminds me of Eric Kendricks. So Noah Sewell, again, when people look at my list, they're like, "You ain't got Drew Sanders, you ain't got all these other guys in there." I'm like, nope. I watched Noah Sewell for 2 years, almost be damn dominant in some games, especially 2021. He was incredible. When you have somebody that's able to support him, like a Danielle Hunter or Zadarius Smith, if you lined him up with them, it would be crazy because what he did with Kayvon Thibodeau in 2021 was crazy. But yeah, he's insane. So I really like him.
Yeah, I like him too. That's what I feel about what's his name? Jack Campbell. He kind of just feels like he can also do everything type of stuff. Maybe I don't know what his I'm trying to think what his pass rush maybe is compared to Sewell. Because that's what I really like about him is that he's great in coverage, good tackler. I mean, he's just
I'd rather get hit by Noah Sewell than Jack Campbell, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Jack Campbell is he feels like one of those dudes that you see somebody get hurt off a tackle and you're like, dang, did he really hit him that hard? And it's like you hear him in an interview the next week, yeah, Jack Campbell messed me up. It might not look hard, but it felt hard.
Sarah's the best, Gary. Sarah's the best. She has the best one-liners in here too. She's always
how about
one-liners.
Jump to corner and then we'll jump into the mock draft.
Let's do that. Yeah.
All right. So, or do you just guys want me to give you my top 5 and everything real quick?
Sure.
Just run through.
Yeah, run through.
Because I got my list up here.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
we already went to quarterbacks and running backs and wide receivers. Tight ends, Zach Kuntz from Old Dominion. Luke Musgrave.
Are we going 5-1 or 1?
Yeah, we're going 5-1.
5-1.
Luke Musgrave from Oregon State. Michael Mayer. People are going to be pissed off at that. Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. But when you get 150 targets every year as a tight end, I don't really rank you all that crazy high. Payne Durham, again, the most versatile tight end in this class. Y'all seen the video. I love Payne Durham. And then Dalton Kincaid, I just seen absolutely demolish people catching the ball. And he's a pretty good blocker as well when I rewatch his tape. So Dalton Kincaid's number 1. Offensive line, I just kind of meshed everybody together instead of just giving you positional groups.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these guys are universal too. Matthew Bergeron from Syracuse, absolute demon. Osiris Torrance, one of the most versatile offensive linemen. Olawatimi from Michigan. Dude won 2 offensive lineman awards and is dropping down draft boards for whatever reason. And I've seen him destroy that kid from Wisconsin at the Senior Bowl like several times. John Michael Schmitz, another versatile dude. He's incredible. I'll give you an honorable mention. Cody Mock from North Dakota State is an honorable mention. It was hard for me not to place him on here, but Purge Johnson Jr. from Ohio State is the best offensive lineman in this class. Okay. And I don't have the kid from Northwestern.
Peter Skoronsky?
Yeah, Peter Skoronsky. I don't have him in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was hard not to put on this list either, but I just think those are like sure locks to be good in the NFL. Yeah. Cornerbacks, Riley Moss from Iowa. Y'all know how I feel about Riley Moss.
Yeah.
Keely Ringo is just a better version of Riley Moss to me. He has the same problems, just not physical enough. Mm-hmm. I had Keely Ringo rated higher than Joey Porter at one point, but after watching Joey Porter's tape again, Joey Porter Jr. is number 3. Clark Phillips from Utah is being severely overlooked, and he's probably the most shut down out of every corner in his class. And Devin Witherspoon is my number 1. Just he has everything that you want. He's just a bigger version of Clark Phillips to me. Christian Gonzalez is a 4th-round pick, by the way. Go watch his film. He sucks. I don't know why people have him going in the top 10.
Is it the
really?
combine with him? Is it like the measurables, the height, the speed?
And
he's a track star. His sister's a track star. But when you look at him play, it's like, dude, you could have stopped this play from happening if you would have just ran. But he's so lazy with every single rep. I'm like, man, it's a 4th-round pick at best for me. I don't know why people rate him so high.
How do you feel about Banks from Maryland? I liked what I saw, but then again, I don't,
Deontay Banks is good, man. He'll probably be 6 on my list, to be completely honest with you. I think you could probably flip-flop him in with Keely Ringo or Riley Moss for like the number 4 spot on some people's list, and I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it at all. Cool. Safety. Now this is the fun group right here. Marte Mapu. What school is that? Sacramento State. Marte Mapu is awesome. Nobody talks about it because he plays Sacramento State. Sidney Brown. The only reason he's at number 4 is because of his size. I seen him get eaten up by some tight ends, and then I also see him destroy some tight ends too. So it's like, it's one of those things he's got to make up for his size at the next level. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do that, but out of respect for how he plays at number 4. Jair Brown from Penn State, most overlooked safety in his class. Don't know why. Does everything really good. Jordan Battle was the best safety in college, pure safety for years until Brian Branch got really, really good the last 2 years. So Jordan Battle's number 2. And then Brian Branch had 1st-round pick, top 10 pick to me. Watch his film again last week. Let me tell you, this dude plays a position called the star position, which only happens in some 4-3 defenses. The star position goes like this. He plays the weak side of the field. So we're not everybody's lined up at. So weak side of the field, he can come in as a weak side linebacker. He can come in as a nickelback, and he can also play a box safety or a long safety, which he didn't really do all the time. But he plays 4 different positions. Actually, it's 5 because he can line up at edge rusher too. That's why they call it a star, because it's got 5 points.
Didn't one of the guys for Arizona? Didn't he kind of do the same thing where he could play linebacker and safety? I mean, I know maybe not to the same extent. But I thought I had heard about that a couple of. Was it Baker or no? Maybe not Baker. I thought there's somebody else that they said that they drafted in the 1st round that was kind of like a hybrid linebacker safety guy. Could be wrong.
Buda Baker?
NFL right now.
Yeah,
I
don't think
it's probably Buda Baker.
It's probably Buda Baker.
Because he's small. He's small like Buda Baker.
Yeah.
He's like 5'11", 190 or something like that. So he's not big enough to play safety.
No, it's It's not Simmons. Maybe it wasn't even. Arizona.
Wait, Isaiah Simmons did too.
Oh yeah, yep.
Sword's right.
I know they said he was like a defensive weapon. They said coming out of college.
Yeah, Isaiah Simmons did too. Isaiah Simmons was the same exact way.
Jack, he was kind of like that.
Man, when we traded Miles Jack last year,
Miles Jack,
I had tears came out my eyes, man. And went to my wife's team with the Steelers. I was like, treat my boy good, please.
I know, I like Miles Jack a lot.
Those UCLA linebackers, though,
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's all of them, right? Did I give you all of them?
I believe so.
Yeah. Let's jump into this mock draft.
All
so
right.
for this, we're gonna let you do all the picks. I mean, obviously, we'll be, we need this position really bad. You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
But yeah, so we'll do PFF. Have you done a lot of these? Probably?
Yeah, I do PFF all the time. I actually have a
PFF.
subscription with PFF.
Yeah,
That's how crazy I'm a nut I am.
Yeah, we got a subscription too. Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you that, but now you kind of told me. I wanted to see what your opinion on PFF was, because obviously I like PFF. It's not perfect, but I don't know how else you get like. Oh,
here's what I'll say about other people that hate on PFF. You hate on PFF, and you think that they're wrong, but they give you exactly reasons and formulas and things of where they rank players, and they're very transparent. Where else do you get that out of? You don't get that from ESPN. You don't get that from a lot of other places. So how can you necessarily say somebody's opinion on a player that has tons of scouts doing this is wrong? I mean, you might not agree with it, but the fact that people don't respect PFF just like boggles my mind. Like, they are very transparent with everything that they do and give you a clear breakdown and everything. I think it's one of the best tools to use. And, you know, my stuff looks completely different because they got Bijan rated the #1 consensus running back. But when you look at it, it's like, okay, I see this, I see that, but I still don't agree with it. It's one thing is like not agreeing with something and totally just shitting on it too. Like, come up with your own formula. I want to see how well that you evaluate players too. You know what I'm saying? So that's always my argument to people that don't like PFF.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's just out of even any other sport, I don't think any other sport that I can think of has something like this where you can just put a number on just other, like, just not straight statistics. Like, you literally come up with a number for how you think someone played, I guess. Which
is this Matteo dude one of your normal people, or is he a troll?
Who's that?
No, he's one of our people.
Oh, okay. He said because they think Hooker is good. Go watch Tennessee and tell me how they look without Hooker. Oh, yeah. Hooker's good, man. Don't let that age thing fool you.
Yeah, I like Hooker. I like Hooker. I mean, half our drafts usually is us trading back for to grab Hooker some way, somehow.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna start this. Should we just go straight to 23? You think?
I would. Yeah, might as well. I mean, why not? We'll see what's there.
Let's do that. I like to stop just a second here. So Shroud.
So should I give you two? Should I give you a draft with no trades and to give you a draft with trades? Would that be interesting?
Sure.
We can do that, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. So we'll go with no trades. We're gonna straight up draft right here.
Okay. Go to cornerbacks. Let's see how y'all are looking there.
Oh, am I missing it? All right, there. So Emmanuel Forbes, Cam Smith, Tyreek Stevenson, DJ Turner, Clark Phillips.
All right, go to safeties real quick.
Take corner out of there.
Ooh.
So your boy's gone.
Yeah. All right, go to wide receiver. Let's just go all in.
Ooh.
I think scroll down a little bit. I think if Josh Downs is sitting right there, you take Josh Downs right here. I think he would be absolutely
over Addison.
Addison's too much like Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
As far as skill set wise, I don't think he has a downfield speed like Justin Jefferson has. That's my only knock on him, because I love Jordan Addison. He's my #1. But for what I think he would be able to give your team, he would be able to slash the middle of the field. You'd be able to switch him and JJ in and out of playing slot. Zay Flowers' hands are not good enough.
Okay.
He will drop a pass that's clearly going to him. He has a big issue with like screen passes, right? So if there's a lot of people in front of him and the ball's going to get to him, he gets lost. Josh Downs is the complete opposite. He does everything that Zay Flowers does. Yeah, I would pick Josh Downs here.
All right, we're doing it. Josh Downs. That's your guy. So you're going towards more like what you think is a fit.
Yeah.
You don't even have a second-round pick, which sucks. There's so many good linebackers in the second round this year, which kind of sucks. I think there's going to be a lot we can go after in that round. All right, so third round, you got. Let's just bring up. We'll do a corner. At safety, we'll add.
D-line. Do D-line.
We'll add some edge in there. We'll add linebackers too. All right, so we'll start with this. What are you seeing here? They got Overshown.
Yeah.
Ojamo.
Moro Ojama right here. I absolutely think this is the right pick for you guys with a ton of value.
If we get him in the 3rd round, I'd be so pumped.
Yeah, I think he's the pick right here.
All right, let's do it. Boom. It's in. But we got 2/4 this year. Or 2/5. I forget.
All right, we're in the 4th round.
Yep.
Nope, not Tanner McKee. Hard pass.
Let's see what the quarterbacks are looking like outside of Tanner McKee.
DTR, Jake Haener.
Get him out of here. Jake Haener, Clayton Toon, Stenson Bennett, Aiden O'Connell, Malik Cunningham. Jaron Hall has fallen on some of these boards.
That's my guy.
I liked him too.
Why is he higher than Max Duggan though?
Duggan's just like the last. That seems just somewhat disrespectful for him to be that far.
It's crazy, man. All right, let's go to cornerbacks because it looks like a lot of value still there.
Yeah.
Riley Moss.
Man, Riley Moss and Eli Ricks. I like Eli Ricks too.
But you got to go with Riley Moss, right? That's your guy right there.
Yeah, let's go with Riley Moss here. I think people will be pumped, not just because of his last name, but he's from up north too. So, but I outside of that, I think he's a great player.
What do you think about Deuce Vaughn? Do you think he's just too small? Because otherwise, I thought he looked good.
I like Deuce Vaughn. I have no problem with Deuce Vaughn. I think as a number 2 running back, he would be great. Yeah, I'd say. Is this your guys' last pick right here?
Oh, we have 2 more. We have 211 as well.
Do we have a 6th rounder? No, yeah, we do.
We could honestly just maybe aim for Duggan in that spot if we wanted him. Draft, it feels like no one's gonna take him.
Yeah, I would skip on Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but let's look through this whole board before we do that.
Keep going down.
What's our linebackers looking like here? I feel like there's a diamond in the rough. Ooh, Ventrell Miller's still there. Charlie Thomas was pretty good. Take a stab at Aubrey Miller Jr. from Jackson State.
Do you think we do it right now?
Yeah, I think he's going to go earlier than what I think he's going to go in the 4th round for what people were saying, 4th or 3rd round. Right, he's really good.
Okay.
Yuck, Eli Ricks. That dude's a cancer in the crybaby. He might be a cancer in the crybaby, but that dude he was like seatbelting people last year.
All right, let's see if Duggan is still there at quarterback. Yep.
Yeah.
Right at his average draft position, 211.
Yeah, go ahead and pick on Max Duggan here.
Yeah,
I think you go ahead and do it.
I would definitely do that in a heartbeat if we didn't have a quarterback for us.
Malik Cunningham. It was funny. When we were at the Senior Bowl, Soar was going around trying to grab players for us to interview. And he was like, yo, Malik Cunningham's right there. I said, nah, that dude's ass. I don't interview him.
Just skip.
So what did we get for Groove? They did not like this one.
Yeah, I knew they weren't going to.
Yeah, no, for sure,
But if you get these players, I'm telling you right now, this is high value. Justin Jefferson would be over the moon. 2-time first team all ACC, broke school records at Notre Dame, gritty. Mm-hmm. The next best thing, then the better version of Zay Flowers. And when you talk about all around receiver with better hands, that's him. Even though I don't have him in my top 5, this was before I watched a lot of Josh Downs lately too, so I might be flip flopping him out here soon. I had to watch some more. Moro Ojama, I told you,
there's no question.
The best defensive lineman in the class when it comes to playing 2 ways. Riley Moss, of course, he gets an A right there because people are severely underrating him. Mm-hmm. What Brian Flores can do with him to make him a more physical cornerback, that's all he needs. He's got the speed already. Aubrey Miller, just been rising up draft boards here lately because people are starting to see how really good that he is. Showed out at the Senior Bowl. He's one of those guys where I was telling you about Andre Yoshivas. did not show up really well, and he played D3 or D2. This was a D2 player that played like a D1 player, so super impressive. And then, I mean, what else can we say about Max Duggan? You guys get a quarterback here. It might shut up a couple people, but for the people that don't know about Max Duggan, oh, didn't he lose like 60-something to Georgia?
Dude, I'm taking the chance at round 6.
I mean, and right here we covered. If you ask what are the Vikings' biggest needs, these are them.
Literally all of them.
Covered
Top
every single
5.
one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Yeah. All right, let's run it back. That's one thing about PFF though. Why don't they have a big board like you can look at?
You can. It's right there, the big board too.
Or like pushes you out of the like what players are left prior to your pick.
Yeah.
Because you just, I mean, so you can just like, I don't know.
So now, are we thinking like a trade up in this one, or most likely a trade back?
I've been doing a couple things, so I don't know if you guys seen it. So I'm gonna surprise you with it. How about that?
Okay, let's do that. What do we want to do?
So let's get all the way to our 23 pick, because I'm not going to trade up here because I don't think there's enough value for you guys to actually care what goes on for these first couple of picks. I think these are just all big names, and people just need all these big names right now.
Right.
I think you guys are kind of like in a perfect spot.
Brian
if Brian Branch is there, I'm saying choose him, but let's get this trade through because he's going to be our pick. He's going to be our pick regardless. All right,
Let's
so
see if we can trade back like a couple or something.
So what we're going to do is
pick 26.
We're going to trade with the Saints, and we're going to give them somebody that they want. So we're going to grab their 29th and their 40th, and we're going to give them our
23.
No, we're going to give them our 87th and our 119 and Zadarius Smith.
Where is it? Oh, there it is. Probably won't do that.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're going to have to force it, but I think he doesn't want to be there, so they're going to trade him away. You know what I'm saying?
No, do you think New Orleans will take this deal?
Because they definitely need a edge rusher.
All right, we're forcing this trade. Yeah. I'm liking it. Let's do it. I'll take that trade all day.
So they're going to force this trade, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to go get Brian Branch.
All right, so we got Brian Branch.
Yep.
Okay.
Next pick. Okay.
All right, now go to D-line. The guy that I think is going to be there is still going to be there. Ryan Brissy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this has worked out exactly how I've been doing it.
Perfect. I like it.
All right, we still got one at 42. Let's go.
All right, now go to get Josh Downs here.
Okay.
All right. So now we're at 87.
Now we got a ways to go.
We're gonna get Ojamo again.
But you see what I did? Got you a safety, got you a defensive lineman, and a receiver. That took care of 3 positions that you desperately needed. Because Harrison Smith is getting old, but you with Brian Branch, you get an extra linebacker, extra corner, and extra safety all in one.
And this will appease the PFF gods when it comes to those grades at the
end.
Yeah, it might.
Most importantly,
Jamie, you could probably bump up the speed here, huh?
Yeah, probably will be all day. Wait. Oh, yeah, we traded our third, didn't we?
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Now, wasn't the second guy down on the board there? Wasn't that the one that you were talking about that you're pretty high on?
Yeah, Olawatimi. Do you guys need a center?
I mean, interior line would not hurt.
I would.
Yeah,
if
we have Bradbury, who's not that great, but we did.
Okay. I would say if Olawatimi is sitting there, you pick him up, no question.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. If there's a question there, I mean, a 2-time award winner, Remington Award winner, you go ahead and pick him up, man. He's an absolute dog. All right, let's look at quarterbacks now.
How do you feel about Stetson Bennett?
Stetson Bennett's just
something not it about him. He just doesn't have that. I don't know what it is for me.
He's a dog, but he can have a noodle arm from time to time.
No pun intended.
He plays like he's gonna get hurt in the next league or in the NFL. I don't know. He's just average to me when you watch him. He makes some amazing plays, but I think it's more so of play calling. That Kirby Smart system is great. Yeah, I say get Max Duggan here. Just Duggan don't pass up. This will appease the fans at the end.
Yep.
Let's see what we're looking like.
Oh, that's it. All right.
What did PFF think this time around?
This one's getting an A.
A-, B+. Okay.
Plus,
they like this one a lot better.
B+. They're always going to hate on Duggan.
D for Duggan.
They're going to hate on Duggan. But...
Dude, I'd be if this turned out this way, I'd be so pumped. You kidding me?
Hey, save this one just to see if I'm right. I feel like Zadarius Smith is going to go in this draft, and it might be to the Saints from just. And I think they would give up this value to get him because half of the season last year he was incredible, and then the second half of your guys' season he kind of fell off. Mm-hmm. But I think there was like I think his riff with the Vikings started in the middle of the season for whatever reason. Yeah, which you'll see that from time to time.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, they might say give us Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith.
I know, which I don't know. Then
you just grab an edge rusher.
Then, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I don't think Lucas Van Ness is going to go that high to me. But if he's there, then you get Lucas Van Ness first, and then bam, then he replaces two people pretty much.
Yeah,
right. So. Exactly.
Yeah, anyway, we've been going for an hour and 45 minutes. Turned out to be. We learned a lot, Dante. We really appreciate the insight from you.
Yeah, man.
It's nice to get to me and Jamie. We do what we can, but it's nice to get somebody that actually puts in the time and effort to study all these players and know so much. It's good to get that type of insight. So
somebody had told me that I should do like somebody's like, can you link me your like evaluation book for your players? So I think what I'm gonna do is that'll be a huge project, but I'll try to get like. For like you guys, like the inside guys, or somebody that asks for like a PDF document of all like my evaluations and stuff, because I do keep everything like in an Evernote document, and I do all my evaluations that way, like timestamps on like certain plays and how I felt about it throughout like all my film studies and all that stuff. That's how I've been kind of doing like the slider series. That's how I know like where to go back and search up a play after I evaluate it. But I think people are really like that. Like, okay, you watch the film, what's a play that like he sucked on that I need to look, or I think more people would be interested in that. Yeah, instead of just seeing the highlights, you're like, oh yeah, this dude looks great, but it's like, well, when he's bad, does he look really bad, or does he look like that could be worked on?
Yeah,
because there's two different types of ways that you can look at it.
Right. Yeah, dude, that would actually be super helpful.
Yeah.
Made my last two work. Let's go, Skol TY.
There you go.
Always in here. My girlfriend said, forget the Vikings. Who are the Bears going to pick? The Bears. Yeah, no one cares about the Bears, dude.
But if the Bears don't go offensive linemen, they are shooting themselves in the foot for another sucky season.
Yeah.
Wow, super impressive guest I've seen in a while. Great show, boys.
Appreciate it, man.
We got a new fan there, Dante. For sure. And Gary's a good one. He's trying to give us money. He's trying to give us money bad.
Yeah. We got to run that giveaway. Speaking of giving.
Actually, let's run this giveaway. So again, everybody in here, hashtag Skol in the comments.
14,
Jefferson Rookie Card on the pink foil. We'll be giving this away. We'll give it away at 8:47. The next minute.
Yeah. So while we wait for that, Dante, why don't you let everybody know again one more time where to find you, where to find all your stuff.
Thanks, Michael.
If you literally just Google East Coast Gridiron, all our stuff will come up. That's why I've been telling everybody, man. Like we literally, I don't know if you guys heard the story. So we had got some T-shirts last year for. We all went to like the Eagles Open practice. And I got some rush ordered T-shirts delivered, but they were for another company. Mm-hmm. And she literally found us just by Googling, East Coast Gridiron because she saw it on the T-shirt. And she found me and messaged me. And she's like,
awesome, dude.
She's like, I have your shirts. Do you want me to send them to you? And I was like, I just received some shirts too. Is your company called this? And she was like, yeah. So we just literally flip-flopped and sent each other our shirts. It was real cool. Awesome. She's actually a Vikings fan. She used to date Robert Smith.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was like, I'll try to hook you up with the interview with him. She's like, we're still really good friends.
It's like, oh, thank God didn't end badly. Huh?
Yeah. So it was actually pretty cool.
That's a cool freaking moment though, especially when you've been put in the work to create East Coast Gridiron, just everything you do, man, to get someone just for those things to happen is huge.
Yeah. That's why we tried to make the name like as marketable as possible. Like I was like, for hours, I was like, what can I call this? I want to include something with Gridiron because people will know Gridiron's for football only. I don't want them to get confused. I could say like East Coast football talk and somebody might think we're a soccer channel, but you don't call the Gridiron for soccer. You know what I'm saying? So I had to have something more familiar.
True that.
So I'm glad that people are like, hey man, I just Googled you and your stuff came up. All our social media, TikTok, Instagram, we're everywhere.
Heck yeah, let's go. Keeping up the grind, all of us.
Yep.
Making it somewhere.
Really.
Gary, I appreciate that, man.
Running it.
Who is going to be the card winner today?
Someone new? Someone old? Sarah again? Boom. Cody Blackwood. I know how to get the card to him. I know him. He's a buddy of mine. Congrats, Cody. You finally won a card in here.
Congrats, man.
But anyway, once again, thanks everybody for joining. Dante, thank you for joining us as well. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Definitely have to have you on again sometime for sure.
Hey, we should do like a draft recap.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because you might get drafted a player you might not know about. You'd be like, I think I know a guy.
I think I know.
Yeah, I'll probably know.
Our draft what we did for draft and see what your opinions, whether it's good or bad, would be interesting. So yeah, let's think something on that for sure.
Yeah, we're having a huge like draft party too. So ours is going to be a donation stream to a charity called One Track. Ooh. They help out like kids internationally that have been misplaced by war or family members that have died because of natural disasters and stuff like that. Try to get them like a foster family or into a new home.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So we're doing that during the draft. So that's going to be real cool. We got a couple of guys hanging out with us. I know you guys got some fun stuff going on too. So I'll be sure to comment and check in and be like, hey man, y'all okay? In case y'all get a bad pick or something.
Hopefully we're not mad because if something, it's going to get crazy. The top could have said,
I'm going to be mad regardless because having Trevor Balky as a GM, we'll never know. We'll probably pick up somebody absolutely. We'll probably pick up Bijan Robinson. I'll be like, oh my God. Why do we trade up for him?
Just him and Travis Etienne though.
Yeah. Oh, that would be I mean, honestly, that would probably be crazy.
It would be crazy. Well, that's the same thing with the Eagles right now if they were to get him, even though they're talking about this Derrick Henry, it was actually really funny. I want to say this because someone sent me, because there's like the rumors came out that Derrick Henry was traded to the Eagles and it became this whole Twitter thing, whatever. And then I was just meeting up with my buddy who's a huge Eagles fan. And before he just got out of his car, I was like, dude, did you see the news? And then I told him it's Derrick Henry. So, of course, he got all excited about it. And then it was false news. So I'm spreading false information.
Well, hey, now on Twitter with the blue check marks being gone, you don't know who's legit and who's not.
I have an inside source that I might kind of get. I'll wink this to so everybody's in here. Ooh. I heard that there is a behind the scenes deal working out to get Lamar Jackson to the Titans.
Dang, that's a big one.
It's going to be like a three-way trade. It was like Lamar Jackson to the Titans and then Derrick Henry to Tampa. Oh, that's what I heard was going to happen on draft night.
Dang, that would be crazy. I would not be surprised.
That'd be something.
We'll
have to see. We'll have to see if that comes to fruition.
And then I have another source that said, I don't know if you guys heard the Panthers news about like the that it's a for sure lock bet for Bryce Young because all the licensing and stuff have come out for his last name, so people are starting to print merchandise. And I have a reliable source that's close to my dad that say, yeah, that's true. Like we're getting all our stuff ready to go.
Stuff ready.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's just no way you have to go for Bryce Young. I don't care all the smoke, whatever. It's Bryce Young from the get-go. I think you know exactly who you're getting when you did that trade.
Oh yeah. I mean, why would you trade up the number one to get CJ Stroud? That's like, it just doesn't make sense why you would trade that far up and get rid of DJ Moore. If you would keep DJ Moore if you're getting CJ Stroud because you're gonna need somebody to be a scapegoat. but you're going to go get a for sure bet that you think can develop the other receivers to be good too. Because he did, like I told you guys, he did it last year without a number one receiver.
Right.
Like Jahmyr Gibbs was his number one guy.
And now his number one guy is the jersey you're wearing right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean he's got Terrace Marshall Jr. Well, seems like DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault from the Jaguars too. It's like they get all the old Jaguars players.
I know.
I remember I was doing a graphic one night on Laviska Shenault, like a speed art, and people wanted to see like just me do like a real cool design. And I was a big Laviska Shenault fan, and I literally had his jersey on Fanatics.com in the cart, and I was gonna buy it the next day. The next day, guess what happened? Got traded to the Panthers. I was like, damn, man, all my favorite players. Oh, man, this is crazy.
Dante, this one's for you from Gary here. Send the link, adopted himself.
Send link to that, please.
Gary, if you go to the our scheduled video on our channel on the live tab, literally the link to the donation link is there for one track. So it's all through PayPal, so they don't work with anybody that's not reputable. So I want to make sure that it was something secure that people knew was going to the right place. So I don't get anything once the campaign is over. It gets sent all to them. So
awesome, man. Awesome.
But anyway, I gotta pee, so I gotta end this. I gotta end this bad boy. But anyway, Dante, thanks for joining us. Everybody who watched, thanks for tapping in. And
man.
Yeah, it's an exciting week. Draft time. Thursday is gonna be a good time. So again, see you all then, and thanks for joining.
See you guys.